Very warm welcome to this information session on the PhD program here at Nanyang Business School. My name is Associate Professor Sadat Reza, and I'm the Assistant Dean of Research here. Thanks everybody for joining us from across the globe. So today we are privileged to have a lineup of distinguished speakers, our faculty members from various disciplines within Nanyang Business School, and they'll share their insights into our academic program and answer your questions about the PhD journey at NBS. So we are also joined by Dr. Jingdan Tan, Assistant Professor at Hong Kong Polytechnical University. She's our esteemed alumni. And also we have Anisha Sharma, our current PhD student, and they'll share their experiences with you. So I'll go straight to the point. Why should you join or consider NBS for PhD program? I should say that Nanyang Business School, we are very proud to say that we are one of the leading business schools in Asia, and our ranking has been increasing steadily over the years. Currently, we are ranked 13th in marketing and 14th in business and management studies, 20th in accounting and finance in QS World Rankings. Our MBA program is also ranked first according to FT Global MBA ranking. However, we are also known for, and that's the focus of the PhD program, we are known for, renowned for being research-oriented, interdisciplinary, and our research is, we hope, we do industry-relevant education and research. So we have partnership with many world-class institutions around the world, and also with various companies. And we have excellent placement record, and I'll share some information about where we have been able to place our PhD students a little later. So which basically gives us a strong international alumni network. Our research infrastructure, I would say, is excellent. We have access to almost any database that you can think of, and we have of course, state-of-the-art hardware and software facilities. We have a robust undergraduate and postgraduate program. We have over 4,000 students across the programs, and with about 270 plus faculty. Most of the faculty members are in the tenure track or tenured. We are accredited by both EQUIS and AACSB. We also host about 11 specialized research centers, and these research centers allow NBS researchers to connect with the industry. So, for example, whether it's Center for Business Sustainability to Nanyang Center for Marketing and Technology. So these hubs facilitate collaboration with not only academicians, but leading academicians around the world, but also with leading industry experts. So this is what, so these centers bring us closer to the industry in terms of latest development, and also to design our research that would address contemporary challenges. I should also say we have a small student-faculty ratio, so supervision is often multidisciplinary, and in fact, most of our faculty members are renowned experts in their fields. So we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have strong placement among recent graduates. In addition, we provide generous financial aids, and I'll talk about it, elaborate on this a little later. And we have our research centers, as I mentioned, offer wide opportunities to involve with the industry and other academicians around the world. I should also talk about NTU a little bit. So Nanyang Business School is within the Nanyang Technological University, and it's a comprehensive university. We have schools and colleges in almost all disciplines, whether it's we have Lee Kong Chiang School of Medicine and National Institute of Education. We have Rajaratnam School of International Studies. We have College of Computing and Data Sciences, and of course, a very large engineering program. So what this allows actually is and people who have been engaged in research, you know that for more impactful research globally, there is a push for more interdisciplinary research. So being part of the NTU system allows our researchers to connect with other schools and disciplines and conduct interdisciplinary research. Many of us are engaged in, say, healthcare research, and we work with researchers in from the School of Medicine, people who are working in sustainability and decarbonization. They're working with people from Asian School of Environment, people who are working on the applications of Gen AI. We're working with researchers in College of Computing and Data Science. So this is a great advantage of to us business researchers. We can draw on expertise from other schools within the NTU system. And then we have a vibrant campus. It's consistently ranked among the most beautiful campuses globally. It's separated from, but not too far away from hustle and bustle of the city of Singapore. We have state-of-the-art facilities. We have 5 or 6 buildings which are net zero and buildings. We also have 26 halls of residences where most of our students reside. So it's a smart campus, and it's as I said, it's one of the more beautiful campuses around the world. So let me talk about the program, PhD program a little bit. So what do we aim? Our aim is actually to groom and nurture a small cohort of students. So we admit about 15 students every year, and the specializations that we offer are these that you see. It's accounting in banking and finance, and that includes, say, corporate finance to information and risk management. We have information systems and operations management. In marketing, we have leading consumer behavior researchers, and we also have quantitative marketing researchers. We are leadership management and organization in NBS, known in this area for a long time. And then we have strategy, international business, and entrepreneurship. So you will hear more details from the representative from these disciplines a little later. Let me talk about the program in general a little bit. So the program structure, it's designed in what is known as quite standard North American structure. So first 1 to 2 years we have coursework. So you have to go through coursework, and then in second year you present your summer paper, and then you have to write a pre-qualifying exam and qualifying exam. So this is a crucial stage. Only people who are able to cross this hurdle of qualifying exam, they go on to conducting their research. So by the end of year 2, you form your supervising team with a main supervisor, and you develop a thesis idea, an idea for research that would lead to at least 2 to 4 substantial research papers in that area. So that research you do in year 3 and year 4. And since you are interested in PhD program, and I'm sure many of you are already familiar with it, nonetheless, I must say that PhD program is a significant departure from the way an undergraduate program and most masters, non-research masters programs are conducted. So those are coursework based, grade based, and etc. But when you are in the PhD program, the focus is developing yourself to become a researcher. And this involves, you'll be, of course, there is a supervising team, but you have to have that initiative to do your own research. And so that's basically in year 3 and year 4. This is where you have to really commit yourself to doing a lot of research on your own. And by year 4, but typically our students would prepare for the job market. And that's when every discipline has their own job market structure and timing. So you go into the job market, you're expected to have a couple of papers, either in revise and resubmit stage or published, that would give you the edge in the market. So most of our students these days, on average, they're taking about 5 years to graduate. So which means that by the end of 4th year, you go into the job market and then move on to the next stage. So that's how the program is designed. Now, admission criteria is, of course, we have some specific numbers that we look at, and which includes GMAT, GRE, and TOEFL. So we need to have a good GMAT or GRE score. And if your undergraduate is not, the medium of instruction is not in English, then we need TOEFL or IELTS. So this is fairly standard, but then more importantly, I think beyond these numbers, what we really look for are people who are passionate about research and passionate about developing a career in teaching. Not that teaching and research is in the academic institutions is the only career that one can develop. Recently, many, particularly the tech firms, have become large recruiters of PhD graduates. So, but as long as what we really look for is whether you have that interest in research and teaching, which means basically we need to look for people who are hardworking and, very importantly, self-starters. Yes, we are always there to guide our students. Absolutely, we'll always be there. But if one is not a self-starter, then research is not exactly what you want to consider. So this is very important, and this is what we look for during our interviews. So that is something that I should highlight. So what do we offer? So we do offer several scholarships. In fact, there are three types of scholarships. We have Nanyang President's Graduate Scholarship, which is our most prestigious, followed by Provost Graduate Award. And in most cases, the applicants would receive what is known as RSS, the Research Scholarship. So you should note the application period. So if you are, for example, for August intake, 3rd November to 31st December this year is the application deadline for the NPGS, and for the Provost Graduate Award is until end Jan. And RSS, I think, is a little later. So these scholarships offer stipends, and it varies from depending on nationality. Singaporeans and Singapore PRs are incentivized a little bit to join the PhD program. An international student, what we have is reasonable, perhaps quite generous stipend to support your stay during the PhD program. So other than the stipend, if scholarship recipients, their annual tuition fee is waived, which is roughly $40,000 a year. So that is waived. And in addition, we also provide support in terms of conference participation and IT. There's some IT allowance, there's some thesis allowance. It's very important. It's very important. Participate in various research seminars and conferences, and we fully support such initiatives. Finally, just about placement. So far, we have we have been able to place people in China, in Hong Kong, even in Europe, in a few universities, in Australia. We have also in Philippines and in Singapore. So around the world, we have been able to place, but majority of our graduates have been placed within the region in Asia and highly ranked universities. So that's basically it from my side. Please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on the screen. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to our PhD program office, particularly on administrative matters. Please, there is also our PhD program portal. The website information is there. But if you have any academic questions, research-related questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. With that, I'll pass the mic to Prof. Y, who is our next presenter. Prof. Y is representing our accounting department.
Okay, so I'm a faculty member at accounting division. Accounting is a major that kind of is not well recognized among applicants. But we do have a PhD accounting, and I think I'm here to tell you a little bit more about our PhD program. So, so what do we do? Well, we study how accounting information is used by capital market participants, either through data analysis or controlled experiments. For example, we study whether investors make mistakes in understanding certain accounting information and how judgments by capital market participants are influenced by the way information is presented. A classic accounting paper studies whether investors respond to earnings news. For example, if IBM reports earnings of 8 cents a share, beating an expectation of 7 cents a share, how will investors react to the news? So this is a sort of example of the type of question we're interested in. Now, I'm very proud to say that our accounting PhD program is highly ranked. Here is a third-party ranking. And according to the publication records of PhD graduates in the most recent 6 years, we are #1 in Asia and number 41 in the world. In comparison, NUS is number 120 in the world, Hong Kong USD is number 50 in the world, and Hong Kong U is number 87. In fact, we have been ranked within top 50 in the world for the last consecutive 7 years. So our high ranking is consistent. Now, consistent with our reputation, we also have had some success in placing our PhD students at reputable universities. And here's a partial link. We have placed our students at Australian National University, Chinese University Hong Kong Shenzhen campus, University of Hawaii and Mano, University of Hong Kong, University of Massachusetts Amherst, University of Queensland, and some other universities. As you can see from the list, our students are well sought after, and many become stars in the academic profession. And I'm going to follow up on that and show you some real-world examples of our PhD students. The first person I'm going to show is Lian Dong Zhang. I was actually a member of his dissertation committee. And he's now Li Gongqian Professor Accounting, Dean of School of Accountancy of Singapore National University. Another example is Elaine. Elaine now is James P. O'Connell Endowed Professor at University of Massachusetts Amherst. And this is my student. I chaired her dissertation committee. She graduated in 2011, and she was promoted to full professor at Shanghai University of Finance Economics in 2019. All right, to conclude, I think it's fair to say that our current PhD program is a program that has had very good reputation and has had very good placement records. We certainly welcome you to consider us and to join us in the future. Thank you so much. I'm going to close my presentation, and I'm going to invite Thomas from LMO division to discuss about their PhD program.
I'm Prof Thomas Boxtool. I'm from the Leadership, Management and Organization division at the Nanyang Business School. And I just wanted to share a little bit about our program in terms of who we are as a faculty and what we're looking for in terms of our students. Here I thought I'd show you a brief kind of research network of all the topics that the faculty in our division are actually studying. So these are based on actual research papers from our faculty. You can see kind of based on the kinds of keywords that we're using in our research that we're studying work-related phenomena, which related to performance in the workplace. We very broadly think of our researchers as having a scientist practitioner ethos. So we are interested in doing very basic research, but also research that can be applied in actual organizations to improve performance and effectiveness for organizations. In terms of the broader research topics, I would say we study a lot of leadership. So how to be an effective leader, how to be a good follower, what are kind of the dynamics between leaders and followers in organizations. Very broadly, organizational behavior. So this concerns issues of how to design work tasks, how to integrate, for example, AI into modern workplaces, how to motivate people, how to do compensation, how to do fair treatment of employees, and so on. And then as a third broad topic, we also study very widely the sort of human capital, human resource, or talent management in organizations. We think of our research always as sitting between the East and the West. And if we look at our co-author networks from our faculty, you see that this is indeed the case. So very strong collaborative networks with faculty in the US and also faculty in China. But in total, we actually have collaborations with authors from 41 over countries, right? So it's a very international community that we are engaged with and that our students and our faculty are co-working with. Many of our faculty are either current or former editors-in-chief or associate editors or sit on editorial boards in many of the top journals in our discipline, so Academy of Management Journal, Journal of Applied Psychology, and so on. Our faculty also publish in these kinds of journals, so we always strive to publish in very, very good management journals. But we also publish in sort of practitioner-oriented outlets, again, to kind of have both the theoretical impact and also practical impact of our research. In terms of what we look for in PhD students, I would say it's three broad things that we strive. The first one, I think you can get this from the rest of my talk already, is a very strong science practitioner ethos. So what this means is that you should have a very deep curiosity about people and organizations. You should have a strong desire to generate knowledge about what actually works in the work, and always looking for a balance between both theory and the practical impact of your work. Then this general ethos is kind of supported by two particular kinds of skills, right? So on one hand, we need people with very strong academic and analytical skills. So need to be strong in theoretical thinking. You need to be comfortable working with data and evidence, and you also need to be persistent or resilient in doing the research. And then lastly, we always say research is a noun, not a verb. So it's about publishing your findings, right? So you also need to have an interest and strength in communicating and writing up your research. Last thing, as our faculty, we build very strong mentoring relationships with our students. So we are looking forward to guiding you from being our students to ultimately becoming our collaborators and peers in the field. For any questions that you may have specifically to LMO, please also feel free to email me directly. I show you my email here. And with that, I will pass the baton to Prof. Chen Tao from the Banking and Finance Division.
Okay, my name is Tao. I'm from the Banking and Finance Division. So I will talk about our PhD program in finance in the next 5 minutes, probably. So in finance, there are two primary research areas: corporate finance and asset pricing. Asset pricing basically studies how to price the assets like equities, bonds, derivatives, etc., etc. Okay, and corporate finance studies how and basically the factors and also the impacts of corporate financial decisions. So we have many faculties in both areas of corporate finance and asset pricing here to provide you the guide to the research in both areas. And to pursue a PhD in finance, I believe a passion for financial research is very crucial, as it typically takes 5 years on average to complete. It's a long-term commitment of your time, effort, and not to mention your opportunity cost. I think in the first and second year, you will focus on basically the coursework, mostly core courses in finance and econ at the PhD level. Then in the second year, you need to pass the qualifying exam, aka QE, which is a comprehensive exam which includes both the written and the oral part. In the third year and fourth year, you will focus on your dissertation. Okay, typically we need you to finish 3 papers. In the final year, you will be completing your dissertation and searching for a job on the job market. In our program, usually the candidates receive scholarships, and it can be self-financed as well. So what information are we looking at in your application? We know that, typically there are 2 types of information: hard information and soft information, right? Hard information here could include your educational background, your GPA, GMAT or GRE scores, and letters of recommendation. Basically, you don't need to have an undergraduate or master's degree in finance or business related disciplines, although many of our candidates do have one. Some basic qualities could include a high grade in your undergraduate or master's studies, high GMAT or GRE scores, and good English skills, both in verbal and written communication. Soft information could include your passion for research and your research experiences. We could infer this from your research proposal and your CV. Our program has a good record of placements. On this page, I tried to list the placements in our program, I think over the last decade. As you can see, right, many of our graduates have successfully landed in academic jobs. So they were placed in the top universities in Europe and the Asia Pacific region. To be more specific, we have students going to Europe, like Erasmus in the Netherlands, right? Students also go to Australia in top universities like ANU, Monash, UNSW, University of Sydney, etc. We also have students going to Hong Kong and Macau of China, also top schools in mainland China. We also have students placed locally in Singapore as well. Let me try to illustrate to showcase the recent examples of our placement. The first one is Bo Hui, who was who graduated I think in 2008, who landed his first job in UNSW as lecturer of finance. Then he was promoted to be a professor there. Then moved to Chinese University of Hong Kong. Now he's executive dean of the School of Management and Economics. He's also the chair professor there. Second one is Wen Rui, who got his first job at Xiamen University. Then he moved to the Chinese University of Hong Kong. He was tenured there. Then he recently moved to Colorado State University. Okay, I think I will just finish my presentation here. Then I will invite our next speaker, Professor Lai Si from SIE. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonas. Oh, hello, everyone. In this section, I would like to introduce the PhD program very briefly and the specialization of strategy, international business, and entrepreneurship. My name is Lai Si Choi Auch. I'm coordinating the program for the division SIE, and it's great to see the interest in the program today. So if you have any questions after this section, please feel free to email me at the address shown in the slide. Okay, so first of all, let me talk about the research topics that our faculties have been working on. These include timely research themes in strategic management and sustainability, international business, covering also emerging market companies amid globalization or deglobalization, entrepreneurship, startup companies, and innovations, etc. These are probably the area where you can make a real scholarly contribution. Moving on to publications, our faculty members have been publishing regularly in top-tier international journals in various fields that include general management studies, strategic management, organization science, entrepreneurship, international business, and applied psychology. I highly encourage you to take a look at a few papers to see any of the topic might resonate with your research interest. Surely you are most welcome to write to the faculty directly to discuss your research interest and topic. Regarding supervision, we received a frequently asked questions from applicants whether one needs to secure a supervisor before applying. The short answer is no. You don't need to have a committed supervisor when applying. Once you are admitted, we will encourage you to identify the supervisor whose expertise would be aligning with your research interest. So please do not let the supervision matter hold you back from your applications. So next, a quick word on our graduate placement. We are very proud of our graduates who have taken up positions in well-known universities in the region and beyond. Indeed, our program is built to prepare you for an academic careers. So briefly, what we are looking for in our applicants, we look for self-driven individuals who are passionate about research and teaching in our core areas. But that doesn't mean that you need to have a bachelor or master degrees in strategies, international business, or entrepreneurship. Indeed, we are very keen on having applicants from other academic disciplines such as psychology, economics, and sociology, etc. Ultimately, we are looking for applicants who aspire for academic careers. So that is a quick overview of our program, and thank you very much for your attention. And let me now invite our next speaker, Prof Vivek from OM division. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vivek. I'm very happy to meet you all. Today, I'm going to give you a very brief introduction about operations management, what we do, what we are looking for, and at the end, and I'll share my contact details so that you can reach out to me if there are any questions that I'm unable to answer in this quick session. So in operations management, let me begin with talking about what we do. So operations management is quite an interdisciplinary field. We talk about how human and AI could collaborate to improve efficiency, productivity, and reduce costs. We also study platforms design and their performance. We also look for efficiency in healthcare and how to match doctors with patients, how to improve the patient's well-being. The next area that we work on is human behavior and productivity, which is one of my research area as well. And then we look at timely topics such as sustainability. So how to make operations more sustainable. And lastly, we also look at studies which look at complex networks, supply chain networks, how to manage them, how to make them better and efficient. So if you look at, in summary, we look at many parts of the businesses where we are looking for performance improvement, cost reduction, well-being improvement, welfare improvement. It's a very interdisciplinary field. In the heart of operations management, we study these problems using two types of methods. The first type of method is analytical or model-driven. So we build mathematical models of the world to understand how it behaves, how complex systems operate, and try to improve the system. On the other hand, which is a bigger strength of our area, is empirical, which is data-driven. So we use econometrics, machine learning, and other data tools to identify the impact of certain variables on efficiency, cost, economy, welfare, so on and so forth. And this is one area where a lot of faculty actually work. So because our strong data-driven team, we collaborate with companies frequently to solve problems, such as we work with Uber, Amazon's delivery arms, healthcare companies, healthcare hospital systems, as well as governments. In the program, we encourage to collaborate PhD students for research projects, and we provide all the support and direction to work with. For instance, we are working with companies in Singapore, India, China, US, Middle East, everywhere. So we are in Singapore, but we are globally connected with all the firms as well as different non-profit organizations, as well as government, to work on research projects. And we will support you, we will help you, as well as will encourage you to collaborate so that you can solve very interesting and relevant problems in our field. We provide you to solve these problems all the tools that you need. For example, in the first year, we'll provide you with optimization methods, microeconomics courses, which are very common courses for every student that join. These will have data components as well as will have model components. And then you can choose your courses from the analytical or empirical courses that we offer. So at the end of the day, our objective is to empower you with or support you with all the tools to support your research work. However, I want to emphasize that the 5-year research journey is entirely learning. So what will happen basically during the process when you are starting the program to you're graduating, and even after graduation, it's a lifelong learning journey. So you will learn these methods hands-on when you start working on your own chapters for research that you want to publish in top journals. We have outstanding faculty to support your research. We have faculty working from platforms, behavioral operations. We have people in the supply chain management. We have people focusing on healthcare operations. We have faculty which very research active faculty in revenue management, green sustainable operations, as well as optimization. And I will highly encourage you to look at our research page, where you can see that what we have been publishing, as well as you can also see what kind of global scholars we invite in our research seminars to speak. So we are very well connected globally. And as some of the faculty members before me explained, that we are in Singapore, which is almost, we are connected to all the parts of the East and the world, very centrally located. This also works for the companies that we work with. So we have companies working from the Europe and US to the Middle East, to India, Africa. Last but not the least, where do we publish? So our aspirations are to publish in top management journals in the world. And for some examples are Management Science, which is management's top journal, and Operations Research, Manufacturing Service Operations Management, which is also known as NSOM, and then Production and Operations Management, which are the top operations management. These are the top journals which are in the list that you so what we look for in our candidates, so we look for a solid academic background, However, you don't need to have a business undergraduate. So you can come from engineering background. The strong quantitative background is a plus, and you should have a passion for solving complex problems in operations. By operations, what I mean is can be very broad. For example, it can be collaboration to looking at supply chain networks. We need very strong studentship because this is a career where you'll have to learn throughout your life. So we need very strong studentship so that you can learn about methods and learn about theory and learn about the past work, and you should have passion for that. We do not necessarily need research and business experience, but if you have, that will be a plus. You can reach out to me if you want to discuss details about your own experience. But one thing which Professor from the other divisions also explained, that we are looking for people who have aspiration for an academic career. And so that we want you to develop into a strong OM scholar. So what we mean by OM scholar is basically think critically about problems, solve complex problems rigorously, expand the knowledge of the field. And at the end of the day, what we want is to make impact for the academy by publishing the top journals, and also practice by solving relevant problems. So if you have any questions, I've shared my QR code of my website where you can go there, or you can just email to me. All the contact details and everything is there. And please reach out to me. All the applicants who reach out to me, I can also guide you if you're confused about whether your profile is suited or not, or what kind of things can be done to help you support your application. I look into this personally. So thank you for your interest, and I will hand over the baton to the next speaker.
All right, thanks, Vivek. Okay, hello, everyone. So I will briefly guide you through the Information Systems PhD program. Together with the OM team that Vivek just give you an overview, we are the Information Systems Group embedded in the same division called ITON Division, Information Technology and Operations Management Division. Currently, I'm showing you the overview of our faculty member. We have more than 10 faculty members in the IS group across different ranks. Many of us are holding the editorial position at the top journal in the information systems or IS field, including the associate editor, editorial board member of Information Systems Research, which is one of the best journals in our field. Some of us are also the senior editors, associate editors for the Journal of the Association for Information Systems, or Journal of the AIS, which is the association of the discipline, among many others. Here, I'm also showing you some recent accomplishments of our students in the PhD program. At major conferences in the field, they got all kinds of awards, recognitions in the field. So in terms of the research interest or group holds, as you know, we have different expertise, background, interests, but roughly speaking, we can categorize the faculty members into two broad streams of research. The first stream is more about the digital strategies in business organizations. So we look into the AI strategy, digital transformation processes, how digital changes may serve for sustainability, focus on those strategic questions that organizations, managers are trying to address. The second stream is more examining the micro foundation of those digital changes to look into how employees, customers, they are changing their behaviors in organizational context or in the market. So broadly, we can call it digital economy, industry disruption. You'll see a lot of research done by the faculty members in our group on all kinds of emerging AI applications. They look into new digital platforms, how this may reshape the competitive landscape across industries. They look into emerging new technology like virtual reality. So there are a lot of interesting research topics covered in these two broadly defined streams. With regard to who we are looking for as potential PhD students, like other PhD programs, as stressed by my colleagues just now, we are also looking for students who are bright, motivated, committed, who are willing to learn and explore, develop their academic career after the program. And particularly, we want the students to be passionate, interested in about the role of technology in the business context. So that makes the IS discipline different from others. So if you're interested in looking into the role of emerging technologies, how this may transform the way of doing business across different industries, IS PhD program could be the right one for you to join. Of course, if you have any research work experience before or had some prior trainings in econometrics, statistics, computer programming, that will be a plus. But of course, this is not a prerequisite for admission. All right, so I will stop here and invite Prof So Kim from Marketing Division to talk about their PhD program.
Thank you, John. Hello, really nice to meet you. My name is Sue Kim, PhD coordinator of marketing. I'm just going to walk you quickly through our program. We have a very, very lively and productive division with respectable rankings. And in terms of, holding editorial positions, we are also quite visible. We have 2 associate editors at JCR, which is the flagship top journal of the CB area, one of which is also the co-editor of IJRM. We also have 3 additional members at the editorial review board of JCR. And we also like to hang out with each other. We're very close with each other in terms of, faculty members and also with our students. So overall, we have a very tight-knit division, but we also like to work. So we are overall a very lively and productive division. In terms of student and application matters, we have largely two different tracks: consumer behavior and quantitative marketing. We admit about an average 1 to 2 students a year. We always aim for 2. Right now it's about split half and half. In terms of students applying to consumer behavior, many times they have a background in psychology in one form or another. Maybe they worked in a lab, maybe they have a psych degree and have done, individual independent studies with the faculty member. So oftentimes they come in with the psychology background, but of course this is not a must, and it is certainly not a must. About half of the students are in the quantitative modeling track, which is oftentimes they have either statistics or an econ background, but again, this is not a must. Some of our students actually have an engineering background who's doing consumer behavior. We provide the training necessary for you to be able to ease into the field. In terms of what we look for, and how many or which track we admit, this is largely determined by, what kind of applicants we get each year and what the bandwidth of the faculty body is that specific year. Prior research experience and strong communication skills are absolutely valued, but of course this is on an individual basis, and we interview our strong applicants and assess at a 1-by-1 basis. We have placed students at, noticeable, visible universities. Our most recent graduate has been placed at University of Melbourne. She always wanted to go to Australia. So we send students to Australia, Hong Kong, Europe, and also mainland China. Some decide to stay in Singapore. So what to expect when you join? So in as soon as students are accepted into the program, we don't want them to be lost in the woods. So we assigned one initial supervisor, which is not binding. You can always change the supervisor after a year if you don't if you find a better fit with someone else. This initial supervisor is for initial guidance about coursework and initial research conversations to get you started and be comfortable with what is expected of you. We also assign a student to one other faculty member to serve for the student to work as an RA so that you learn through doing. So by doing the research assistant work, you learn the hands-on stuff of research. So you're already at the onset, you're already interacting with 2 faculty members, and we encourage our students to interact with as many faculty members as possible. So the assessments that you will face is pre-QE and QE. So pre-QE happens, this is the written type of exam. Pre-QE happens in August after 1 year has passed since your admission. And the QE, which is the research paper and proposal, happens about 1.5 years after you are admitted. Typical duration of programs is 5 years. Students are guaranteed funding for 4 years. Typically, the 5th year, the faculty find ways to fund you. We offer various research seminars to give you the right tools to, develop into a PhD student and a scholar. And you can also take classes from other Singapore universities such as NTU and SMU and other divisions in NBS as well. There are various opportunities to hone your presentation skills. So we have something called a PhD day where doctoral students present to the faculty, and there are also additional PhD brown bags as well. Once the student is entering the job market, we have a formalized test market preparation sessions, oftentimes scheduled by the PhD coordinator so that the student can get as many practice job talks as much as possible. And after each year, PhD students submit an outlook report where they talk about what their developments have been and what their goals are for the next year. If they have concerns, they can express it there. And the PhD coordinator, serve as kind of the bridge between the student and the faculty body. Okay, so that's all I have for today. I'm happy to answer questions later or via email written here. And I will now I'm happy to introduce our former and current PhD students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Su Kim's kind introduction. So my name is Shintan Tham. I am a recent graduate from the PhD in accounting program in the NBS. Currently, I'm an assistant professor in the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Today, I'm going to share with you some of my experience during my PhD journeys at NBS. Yeah, so our program offers us a great variety of academic resources. In terms of research, we have very strong and well-experienced faculties. Many of them serve on editorial boards from top research journals, so they have a good understanding of the current research trends and topics, and they are able to offer us sharp and constructive feedbacks. One thing I like a lot is the exposure to different research tracks, topics, and methods. For example, in accounting, we have both the capital market and the behavioral experimental tracks. So the mixed method of training is really helpful, which I find that to be extremely useful in shaping my way of thinking and help generate research ideas. We have very rigorous and comprehensive training. So in my opinion, our program does not just focus on producing papers. It also offers a lot of trainings on other things like evaluating research papers, presenting research ideas, and engaging in academic discussions. This is very helpful in preparing us for our academic career. There are a lot of research events within our schools. So, for example, we have a research seminar almost on a weekly basis, so we can interact with top researchers from all over the world. Another important aspect is about the teaching. We as PhD students have the opportunities to teach the full course as the course instructor. So I will say this is very important because it gives us the opportunities to experience teaching and engage in teaching, which is really likely to be part of our routine job after our graduation. Beyond the research and teaching, our school has a relatively flat and friendly culture and environment. So the faculty members are very approachable. We have a small and warm group of peers that we can talk with each other, share our thoughts, and support each other throughout the PhD journey. Our school has quite close connections with other local Singapore universities like SMU and NUS. So basically, we can take courses there and transfer the credits back. And there are a lot of joint events across the Singapore universities. So it is a good opportunities for us to expand our network and get to know more people. When we are on the job market, the faculty members are very supportive and they are always willing to give us a lot of helpful feedbacks and guidance. We have opportunities to practice the presentation and mock job talks, and there are regular career sharing sections from our senior students, so we can learn some helpful tips from their experience. So overall, I'm very grateful to the PhD program at NBS. And I enjoy my life in Singapore a lot. So next, let me welcome our current students, Anisha, to share her experience at NBS.
Thank you, Professor Jingdan. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Anisha Sharma, and I'm a third-year PhD student in the Department of Information Systems and Operations Management at Nanyang Business School. To talk about NBS, I would like to share my experience in a few parts. The first thing I would like to discuss is the cohort. One of the many things that I truly appreciate about NBS is the variety of backgrounds that people come from. My own experience is in electrical engineering and data analysis. And like many of you, I also contemplated pursuing an MBA before deciding on a PhD. Here, students come from all kinds of fields. Some have done their MBAs, while others come from psychology, finance, marketing. So it is a very diverse group, and that diversity makes learning here unique because you get so many different perspectives on various topics. The second aspect that I want to highlight is the mentor-mentee relationship, which forms the foundation of our research journey here. In my case, I have been very fortunate to be supervised by Professor John Kidong and Professor Liu Hao Yuan. They're both extremely supportive and incredibly generous with their guidance. One of the very first things Professor John encouraged me to do was to ask questions. And I must admit, I probably troubled them with quite a few. But it's true, once you learn to ask good questions, the next important step is learning how to accept constructive feedback and to use it for your own growth. And that is what is something that will truly help you grow as a researcher here. NBS in general has a wide range of faculty expertise. There are many professors who are working on both theoretical and empirical research, covering diverse topics like artificial intelligence, cognition, strategy, digital transformation, and organizational behavior. So this diversity increases your chances of finding a mentor whose interest aligns with yours. So when you're in the process of applying, I would really encourage you to explore these different opportunities and find someone who is a right fit for you. Now, the third thing that I would like to share is a bit of an advice from a senior student, is that PhD is a marathon and it's not a sprint. So when you come in here, don't rely on short bursts of energy, focus on consistency. The trifecta of PhD is reading, writing, and data analysis. So my suggestion is to build a routine that will be repeatable for you. And this consistency will truly pay off for you. So don't cram your writing at the end. Small, steady engagement in all three areas, reading, writing, and data analysis, would be the most sustainable approach for doing a PhD. And lastly, working hard is essential, but so is having a good support system that will help you manage the demands of your PhD life. Last year, I served as the president of the Graduate Student Council at NBS, where we organized various events and festivals to give students space to connect and relax. They have celebrated everything from Mid-Autumn Festival to Diwali. And when you apply, and hopefully you get selected, please know that you will have a vibrant student community waiting to welcome you. We host both academic and social events throughout the year to support you through your journey. So it is true that your research will be demanding, but having a supportive community really makes a difference. So PhD is about persistence, show up, learn, and appreciate every bit of the progress you make if you come here. And at the same time, hopefully you enjoy your journey. So thank you so much. And I will invite Professor Sadat for the Q&A section now.
Yes, thanks to all the speakers. And so let's move on to the Q&A session. Please type in your questions and let's see. So we have a few questions already. The first question is, could you please elaborate on what the admissions committee looks for in a strong PhD application, particularly in terms of research proposal, quality, and academic fit? So this one, I think all our speakers have spoken about it. What type of applications that the different disciplines within NBS look for. I think in general, so it can vary a little bit from discipline to discipline. For example, what the OM would be looking for and what consumer behavior would be looking for could be slightly different. But I think by now, I think you have a good idea. In general, as I mentioned in my presentation, other than the standard, the GMAT, TOEFL requirement, you have what we are looking for is basically people who are committed to research, and if there is any evidence that suggests that corroborates that commitment, that's clearly what's welcome. We do not expect the applicants to have a full-blown research proposal ready for submission and right away. That's not what we look for. But of course, any kind of evidence that suggests that you are committed to research is important. I would suggest whoever raised this question that if you could reach out to me asking about which specific discipline or the relevant PhD coordinator, I think you'll get a much more nuanced response. Second question is, how can prospective applicants effectively align their proposed research topics with the expertise and ongoing research interests of NBS faculty members? So let me just give me broadly, and perhaps broadly I'll just respond, and then perhaps I can ask one of my colleagues to add to that. Initially, for most of us, what happens that you start with the research idea, and then typically there's a phase of evolution that goes through. So you once you immerse yourself into the literature, when you learn much more about what are the questions that are being asked and how relevant that the question that you started with, and in most cases, what happens that it evolves into certain in some other questions. So I think it's a process. It is perhaps better to be a little bit more open-minded, but if you have a very strong research idea already and you have done your pre-readings and you have looked at the literature, of course then the question is whether you can find the right people to guide you and support you. And all our faculty members profiles are out there. I think a little bit of going through their profiles would help. For example, if you are interested in, let's say, corporate finance research, you go to our finance department, go through the list of researchers and see whether the topic that you're interested in is aligned with a few professors there. That would help. But I think in general, NBS, we have our faculty members have a wide range of expertise. So it's very likely that if you have a strong inclination toward one research area, that you would find a good support. Perhaps I can invite anyone else would like to add to that.
I think maybe Sadat, just from
Yes.
LMO's perspective, I think one thing we also always encourage students to look through our faculty profiles to see like who might be doing research in the area that you're interested in. But it's also good to maybe reiterate that the research proposal is not a binding piece from the application, right? So it's more for us a way to gauge what is your initial research interest, how structured can you think about conducting a research, and who might on our faculty be a person that would be aligned with you. But clearly those things oftentimes do change when students actually come into the program and then develop their research more.
Absolutely. Thanks, Thomas. Then the next question is, should students with practical experience and without any research experience are encouraged to apply? Again, I'll invite my colleagues to respond, but in general, neither is absolutely necessary. I think it is your interest. So, for example, it is not necessary for you to have a practical experience because we are in business research. Many of us do. I myself spent 10 years in the industry before joining, but it is absolutely not. It is not a necessary criteria. Or it does help if you have some experience, but again, academic world and corporate world, academic research and corporate research or corporate activities there, they are quite a bit different. In terms of research experience, yes, if you were you are expected to have some interest in research, which means we would expect you to have some experience in terms of research assistance or assistantship, having some exposure to that. Again, it is not binding. It's what you need to demonstrate is your interest in research and in career in research. I think just to before I pass on, I think here when you're moving to research career, it's a lifestyle choice that one makes. And I think it's good to speak to as many people as possible that what is a lifestyle of an academician and what is a lifestyle of corporate sector, and then figure out whether you are interested. I assume you have already done that, and otherwise you wouldn't be interested in a PhD information session. But again, I think it's a lifestyle choice that you will be making. So it's something, as many of us mentioned during our presentation, that it's commitment that is required, including Anisha, who mentioned that. So it's important to have that commitment to and not force yourself, but if you're genuinely interested, it'll be a very enjoyable experience. Yes, if I can invite any of my colleagues to add to that, that'd be great.
So, well, I just want to talk a bit about the question about practical experience. When I see the question, one person immediately came to my mind. She was a professor from Stanford. Her name is Mary Bass, and she was a partner of auditing firm before she decided to enroll in a PhD program. And her industry experience helped her tremendously, because she was already up there. She knows auditing inside out, and as you know, her research became sort of legendary. She was like one of the probably most recognized names in accounting research. So just to answer your question, I think definitely practical experience matters, and I think it's a definite plus in my opinion.
I echo what you said just now. So I actually worked for 8.5 years in the industry, and I was a management consultant without any research experience when I joined academia. So I will suggest that think of this as two things. One is what you must have. So passion for research you must have, and research experience, practical experience, or both are going to be very plus. It will not only help you in your admissions, what Professor Zangvi was mentioning, that when you're identifying problems, when you're identifying and working on building industry collaborations, it helps you at your after your PhD as well. So it is not binding, but good to have.
Next question is, how do you view applicants who have a strong quantitative background in mathematics and statistics, but relatively limited prior exposure to business or management courses? To what extent can strong quantitative skills compensate for weaker business backgrounds in PhD admissions? So for this one, before I pass to our more quant discipline representatives, for quantitative background in mathematics and statistics for certain disciplines, like for example, like operation management, quantitative marketing, corporate finance, or finance in general, that is almost necessary. It is very difficult to without tackling these or being part of these disciplines without having quantitative background. And whether it is necessary to have mathematics or business background, I think some exposure to economics would be helpful, although we try to train people from using the foundation level with standard foundational training in microeconomics, and everybody needs to go through and econometrics. Some idea as about the business, active business, as Prof Vivek and Prof Jangwai, particularly for Prof Jangwai, who's representing accounting. I think if you do not have accounting background, then I think it is pointless going for accounting PhD. But that's quite, it has its own technical nature. But for operations management, quantitative marketing, finance, or to a certain extent strategy, if it is again not absolutely necessary, but some exposure to business and economics courses at the senior undergraduate level would certainly help. I think for finance, it probably would help a little bit more. Again, I think perhaps Vivek and John, if you would like to add to what I said.
Yeah, thanks, Sadan. If I can add to that, I do think, the quantitative skills will help, but of course, it's not a must for you to enter the IAS PhD program. Of course, we have some very technical research areas that you can potentially pursue. If you choose those topics, I think the quantitative background definitely will help. But we also have some other more business-oriented or managerial research topics, strategic questions. Then if you are like of this background, you can still study very interesting, technology applications in business context. For many of us, we pursue both depending on the research questions. Sometimes, if you do know statistic very well, it will help you to use the best possible research methodologies to investigate your research questions. And the general training or field is, if you look at the journal review processes for top journals, the methodological bar is rising over time. So I think if you can leverage the statistical background, mathematical background to study the topics by choosing and applying the best possible methodologies, that will be a plus of strength that you can develop in the PhD program in IS.
I'll just add a little bit from an OM perspective, because we in OM we have two streams. So one is analytical stream where you build mathematical models. So for that, strong mathematical background is must. But we have also empirical track, which we are looking at very much nowadays. So using data to inform a research question. So in that case, I think you will have all the support to learn the tools and techniques. I will highly recommend you to read a few papers in both streams, like building mathematical models and the data-driven research, which will give you a sense of what kind of finally the products will look like. And we aspire to you to be there in the 4 or 5 years. So if you're ready to learn those tools and techniques, I'm very sure that we'll have the necessary support. Quantitative background will be helpful, statistical background will be helpful, but during the program also, you'll have opportunities to learn and hone those skills.
The next question is for Prof. Jang. It's for accounting. It's asked, I also had question. My research interest is about taxation. Is taxation also included in the research area of PhD in accounting?
Thanks for that. Well, definitely. Taxation is a very important research area in our accounting research. And we have lots of papers written about how firms are trying to avoid tax and whether firms manipulate earnings at the same time when they try to get tax benefits. So the answer is a resounding yes.
So the next question is, do we need any coding or programming knowledge before applying? For most of the empirically oriented disciplines, some coding knowledge is required. It may be a little too late to pick up coding if you do not have any coding experience, but it's not, there's sufficient time to pick up coding in a couple of months. So it's these days the tools available out there, including all the LLMs and with YouTube and everything, then all kinds of open source programming languages available. And this is something we would expect most of our students to have. Having said that, perhaps can I ask, let's say more experimental research, experimental behavioral science researchers, let's say Sue and perhaps Thomas, if you would like to say anything about coding requirement for experimental research.
Sure, I can briefly talk about this. For consumer behavior research, usually using experimental methodology coding or programming is not a must. Many of us don't have this knowledge, but more and more it's becoming a plus. But it is certainly not something that is required. You can probably do without, but given that a lot of journals are preferable, but they're increasingly journals prefer mixed methodologies, and there are collaborations between disciplines. Having some level of coding or programming is going to be a plus, but not a must.
Yeah, it's the same for the leadership and management division. We don't see it as a must, but it's definitely a benefit if you have it. We do teach quite a number of coding or statistical related courses as part of the coursework program in our PhD program. So there would also be a time to pick up some of these skills, but yeah, they are increasingly becoming essential in our field as well.
So the next question is, should the research proposal mainly align with one professor's research interest, or should the proposal align with 2-3 professors' research topics to increase the chances of getting admission?
Yeah, I would say for our division, strategy, international business and entrepreneurship, if you can find a professor whose interest is aligned with yours, it's already great. Yeah, but then of course there is an additional advantage is that if you can find 2-3, then the chance of setting up a committee, the thesis supervision committee, would be much better, and also it will be more broader based. So it's highly encouraged, but it's not a must.
So the research, what we look at is more the quality of the proposal rather than whether it's a great fit for marketing, at least, any particular person within the division. So I would say, I mean, if you have a research interest that is relevant to what the faculty members do here, that's great. And it would be a bit of a question mark if your research area, we don't have anyone looking into that in terms of research. For instance, if you are interested in neuroscience, then there won't be someone who can actually teach you the technical side of those of that area. So I would definitely encourage applicants to look at the faculty profiles and kind of gauge what type of research that we do. You don't have to specify your proposal to a very specific topic that one faculty member is working on, because we have a broad interest and many of our faculty members actually often cater to the students' interest as long as the methodology is within their area of expertise.
So we have another question. I think perhaps Thomas, this may be of interest to you. So the question asks, I have a background in psychology and human resources development. Actually, yeah, so any behavioral science discipline. From your perspective, which research areas within the PhD program would best align with my academic background? Also, would having significant professional experience be essential? I'm genuinely passionate about further study because I truly enjoy learning, and my long-term goal is to return to my home country as a lecturer. So, background in psychology and human resources.
Yeah, so that would sound like is a good fit with our human resource management or even the OB kind of research areas within the leadership management division. I think the one thing I would probably caution is when you say you want to do a PhD because you enjoy learning, I would like to switch your frame a little bit, because the PhD is not just about learning, it's also about generating knowledge. So there must be a passion for creating knowledge, not just for learning knowledge. So that might be a biggest shift in general from a bachelor or master program into a PhD program, where you're going much more as an independent knowledge creator at the end of the day. But otherwise, the fit would be perfect with LMO.
Yes, and if so, with human resource development interest, that sounds like a good fit. But also, if you have psychology background and also interested in examining consumer behavior, and marketing is also something you may want to look into. So, okay. So the next question is, how much flexibility do students have to refine or slightly change their research direction once they begin the PhD, especially if their interests change after exposure to coursework and research methods? So this is, of course, as I think most of the speakers have mentioned this. Yes, there is some initial idea, and in most cases, most students wouldn't stick to that idea. Things would evolve. So this is almost natural. So once you have gone through the coursework and understood your literature debate in one and a half year, you find out you have a much more refined sense of what is your interest area actually. So yes, after the coursework is done, that's when you typically start with if you form your research interest, and then have a supervising team, and then work on that research. Even after that, it's let's say 1 year later, you find that this is no longer something that you can work with. It's not advisable, because it typically doesn't happen, but there are provisions to change your research interests. So there's at least administrative provisions whether that is more workable or not. That is for people to find out. Typically, people would start with a research area, and then final output may be slightly different from in the thesis stage, and then it could be slightly different from the original research idea. So then just since you put up this last question, actually that sounds more like an administrative question, that whether someone would be able to continue with entrepreneurial activities while doing a PhD. It's a PhD itself is kind of an entrepreneurial activity in itself, full-time. So beyond that, if you want to do something that will probably take away your attention and effort and etc. and may not be the optimal thing to do, but I think administratively, whether it is possible or not, I think you may want to reach out to the PhD office, whether this is technically or legally possible. So that's so with that, thanks so much. I think does the screen, yes, this is NBS PhD at ntu.edu.sg is our PhD office's contact email address. Please feel free to reach out to them or to any of us via email. Please feel free. So really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us from across the globe. And we hope you take interest in our PhD program and perhaps looking forward to meeting some of you in the future. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. We'll be stopping the webinar. So if you have any questions, please email us. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
Thank you.